Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Ajay. So today's tutorial is about the HTML tables and we are going to understand what exactly is rowspan and callspan in HTML tables. While creating HTML tables, we make use of rowspan and callspan. What exactly is the use is what we are going to see in this particular tutorial. Okay, so normally we create an HTML table. Now a table is simply a combination of rows and columns. So normally these are the vertically, if we see, these are the columns. So if you talk about this particular table, there are around 5 columns, and if you talk about the rows, there are around 7 rows. So these are the rows. Okay, so there are 7 rows and there are 5 columns if you talk about this particular table. Okay, now what exactly is call span? So for example, if I want to merge, like I want like these 2 columns should get merged, so in that case we are going to use a call span. So this is an example of a call span. So the gray thing that you can see, okay, I've highlighted that thing. So column 1 and column 2, 2 columns have got merged over here. Similarly, at the end you can see that the call span, so this is the call span over here. If you look at the first thing, so the call span is 2. Why 2? Because we are merging 2 columns over here. So the call span over here will be 2. Okay, and if you look at the last row, at the last row also all the columns have got merged. Now over here there are total 5 columns, so over here you can say that the call span will be 5. Why 5? Because total all the 5 columns actually have got merged out here, so the call span will be 5. And if you talk about the first row, so over here the call span will be 2. Okay, so it depends on how many rows you are trying to merge. Okay, so this is called as call span. Call span, where you will be merging the columns. Okay, so we are merging these 2 columns. Over here we are merging all the columns. Okay, so it is called as call span, and we are going to make use of this attribute to get a perfect output as what you can see on the screen. Okay, now if we talk about the row span, what exactly is a row span? A row span where we have when we have to merge the rows. For example, you can take this particular example. So over here you can see that row 1, 2, 3 and 4 are merged over here, and one more at over here you can see that is row 6 and 7 over here is merged. 6 and 7 row, but the fifth column. Okay, and over here the row 1 to 4 are merged but at the first column. Understand it? Okay, now we are going to understand how exactly we have to, how exactly we can get this output. Okay, so we are going to make use of row span and call span. So let us move back. That is the call span. Okay, so over here first we will generate an output using the call span attribute into the HTML table. So let us start the coding. So this is the output that I want, exactly the same output, so we will code for this particular output. Okay, so let's move to, straight away I will just go to notepad. So this is a simple notepad, and we will simply type the HTML code over here, save it as .html and then run it, and we should have the output if we do the right coding. Okay, so let us start the coding. So first tag is the HTML tag, and I will also give the closing tag. Then next is the head tag, the opening and closing tag, and similarly the closing tag. Inside the head tag we normally have the title tag, and I can just give the title like tables and the closing tag of title. Then outside the head tag comes the main body tag. Now I'm assuming that you know the basic coding of HTML, because this tutorial is about the row span and call span attributes and how you're supposed to use that. Okay, so I'm assuming that you know the basics of HTML. So inside the body tag we are going to make the table. So for table we have the table tag. This is the opening tag and this is the closing tag. Now inside the table, for example, if we look at this particular output, okay, so how many rows and how many columns are there? There are 7 rows, isn't it? 7 rows and 5 columns. Okay, so one thing is sure that we are going to have 7 rows. So for rows we need to use the tr tag, tr, which stands for table row. So we are going to make use of 7 tr tags, and inside every tr tag we need 5 td tag, td, which stands for table data. Okay, I'll just show you one by one how to do it. Okay, so let's move back to the coding. Okay, so we need 7 rows. So tr stands for, that is table row. So I'll simply copy this. Okay, and this is the first row. You can see this is the first row now, opening and closing. Then I'll just give one space so that you can understand. This is the second row, third, and now this is the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So you can see this is the seventh, this is the sixth, fifth, this is the fourth row, third, this is the second, and this is the first row. Okay, so inside the table tag I have the, okay, I have 7 tr tags. Why 7? Because we need 7 rows. Now inside this tr tag we have around 5 columns, so I will have 5 td tags. So this is the first td tag, td, which stands for table data. Okay, so I will simply copy this and paste this, the second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay, so 5 td tag inside every tr tag. So this is the first row, first tr tag, and I have this 5 td tags. I will simply copy this and paste under every tr tag. This is the second row, this is the third, this is the fourth row, this is the fifth, this is the sixth, and the last, that is seventh. Okay, so we simply had a basic, we will simply have a basic structure, that is a table which will have 7 rows and 5 columns. Okay, so I will simply give some attributes, that is I will give some height to the table, that is around 500, and I will give some width to the table, that is 1000 width, that is 1000 pixel, and rules, that is the lines that we see, that is all, and I will give a border to it as 1 pixel. Okay, so everything looks good. Now what will I do is save this onto my desktop, and I will simply give tables.html, and this is the tables. Okay, this is the file. I will just give the right click and try to open this onto the browser. Okay, and let us see the output now. Okay, so that's the perfect output in front of us. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. There are 7 rows, and you can see there are 5 columns. Let us bring this table exactly at the center of the page, and that I can do using simply align is equal to center attribute. Okay, and simply again I will just save this, refresh this, and you can see it's at the center of your page, isn't it? Then okay, now everything looks good. You can see that's the perfect output in front of us, but then we have to understand about callspan and rowspan. Now if you look at this particular output is what we are trying to get, isn't it? The first 2 columns are merged over here, and the last row, that is the 7th row, all the columns are merged. So let us go to the first row. Now what we are supposed to do in first row is, since the first td tag, first 2 columns are merged, so we are going to use the callspan. How to use the callspan over here is, see, let us come to the first row. Why first row? Because this callspan, these 2 columns are merged in the first row, so we will come to the first td tag. Okay, first td tag, that is, sorry, first tr tag, I meant to say, that's the first row, that is the first tr tag, and over here what will I do? I will go to the first column. Why first column? Is because you can see this first column is merged with the second column. First column merged with the second column. So I will simply use call span is equal to 2. That's it. Now what we need to do, since this column is merged with the next column, so I need to remove this one TD tag from here. So we will only have 1, 2, 3 and 4 TD tags. Why only 4 TD tags? That is because the first column is merged with the second column. So this entire one thing becomes one column. So this is one column, 2, 3 and 4. So only 4 TD tags. But if you talk about the row 2 will have 5 TD tags because there are 5 columns over here. Same for 3, 4, 5 and 6. But for the last row, we will have only one TD tag because there is only one column. One column, and call span will be 5. Why 5? Because there are 5 columns. So let us go to the last row. So you can see this is the closing tag of table and this is our last row. Over here this is the first column and I will simply give call span is equal to 5 and the rest of the columns I will delete it. Okay, now I will simply save this and let's go and see the output, and you can see these two columns are now merged over here. We have a perfect output over here and all the columns of the last row are now merged over here. Okay, now let us take this more further. Now I want you to guess. For example, if I want that these two columns of second row, okay, and these two columns, last two columns should be merged. So which column is this? In the second row, I have to go to the first TD tag, second, third and fourth. And fourth TD tag will be call span is equal to 2. That is this. So we will only have 4 TD tags over here also. Let's go to the second column. So second column is, the second row. So this is the first row, this is the second row, and the second last I will simply say call span is equal to 2 and I will simply remove this one. Okay, click on file, save it and then just refresh it and you can see even these two columns got merged out here, isn't it? So we have a perfect output as what we require. If you don't remove the extra TD tags, the output of your table will not be perfect. It will be some other structure you will find. Okay, so something that is unusual you will find on your web page. So you need to use proper TD tags while using the call span, and the extra TD tags in that particular TR tag you have to remove it. Make sure that. Now this is something that we have already done. Now let us take this more further. Let us have some row span. For example, if I want to row span this, okay, or else what I can do is I will just let us just remove all these TD tags and let us have a normal table as what it was, and over here also. Okay, and I'll simply copy this. There are 5 TD tags and I will simply copy all of them over here and over here. So we will have a normal table and at the last over here. Okay, and then I will save this and now you can see the output. This is again a normal table. There are 5 TD tags inside every TR tag. So we have this normal table now. Now let us do some call span. For example, if I want to merge 1, 2, 3 and 4 of the first column. So what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to go to the first row and I have to do this call span, so the row span. Okay, but when we do some row span over here, make sure that it will affect all the other TD tags in the other rows. Okay, so for example, if I go to the first row of the table, this is the first row, right? So let's come to the first column and simply type row span is equal to 4. So I'll be merging 4 rows of the first column. So I've just did this for the first column. Okay, and over here it will be same. Now if you see the output, you will find something unusual. I've saved this, and now just refresh this, and you can see this is the output that we are getting. There is something unusual. There are some extra things coming out over here. Why? Is because the first row span was perfectly fine. The coding was perfectly fine because there are 1 2 3 4 and 5. There are 5 columns in our first row, and it should remain 5. But in the second row, okay, since this has been merged already, we shouldn't be having 5 TD tags in the second row. So we have this extra in second, third and fourth as well, and you can see these extras over here. So what you need to do is you need to go to the second row and remove 1 TD tag. Okay, then the third row, again 1 TD tag, and the fourth row. Okay, now click on file, save it, and now if you see the output, now this is the perfect output, isn't it? Okay, let us give this some color. Okay, so over here, and I will say that is BG color is equal to something like gray. Okay, save it, and now you can see that's the merged, and I gave the gray color to it, isn't it? Now if I want this to merge, or I want these two things to be merged, that is the sixth row, and which column? For example, these two. So first column, second column, third column will be row span will be 2. Why 2? Because we are going to merge these two rows of the third column. So let us go to the sixth column. So sixth column will be this. So this is the last TD tag. So this is the last row, and I need to go to the sixth row. Sixth row, third column. This is the first column, second column. Over here, I will simply type row span is equal to 2. Okay, let us just save this and see the output. And now you can see the output. We have this, but then again there is some extra rows over here, right? The extra column, I mean to say. So to remove this, what we need to do, we have to go to the last row and remove 1 TD tag. Okay, so let's go to the last row and remove this from here, and let us give this color also to this, so that we can just see that merge properly. So I will say BG color is equal to gray, right? And then just refresh this, and you can see. So this is how easily you can use callspan and rowspan, and you can design a table as what you require it. Okay, for example, you want this entire thing to get merged, so you want this as an heading of the table or anything. So in that case, you have to just use what? Callspan for all the columns. So it will be in the first row, first column, that is callspan is equal to 5, as what we did for the last row, right? So this is how you can use the callspan and rowspan attributes. You just need to practice a bit, and it is very easy. In my next tutorial, I'm going to take one more topic regarding rowspan and callspan, and I'm also going to show you how you can have a nested table. So a table inside another table. So that is what I'm going to cover up in my next tutorial for the HTML series. Okay, so that's it for today. Bye for now.